Single dad sees a blind girl abandoned at a bus stop. What he discovered shocked him to the core. The girl he almost drove past the rain had been falling since 7 o'clock, and Marcus Cole wasn't stopping for anything. He had a frozen pizza waiting at home, a 9-year-old daughter who'd already called him twice asking when he'd be back, and a presentation due Monday morning that he hadn't touched. 43 years old, recently divorced and running on 4 hours of sleep, Marcus was done with surprises, done with detours, done with anything that wasn't on his carefully managed schedule. But then his headlights swept across the bus stop on Route 9. She was soaked through. A young woman, early 20s maybe, sitting completely still on the metal bench as the rain hammered down around her. She wore a loose cream-colored dress that clung to her, bare feet flat on the wet concrete, a battered brown suitcase beside her. One hand rested in her lap. The other gripped a white cane. Marcus drove past. He made it exactly 40 feet before he stopped the truck. "Come on, man." He sat there, windshield wipers slapping back and forth, staring at the road ahead. "It's late. You don't know her. Emma's waiting." He looked in the rearview mirror. She hadn't moved, hadn't even flinched at the rain. He reversed. Marcus pulled up slowly, rolled his window down, and leaned out. Up close, he could see that her hair was completely drenched, water streaming down her face. Her eyes were open but fixed, aimed slightly to the left of him, unblinking. "Hey," he said. "Are you waiting for someone?" She turned her head toward his voice. Not his face, his voice. "No," she said quietly. "I'm not waiting for anyone." There was something in the way she said it, not sad exactly, but final, that made his chest tighten. "It's really coming down out here," he said. "Do you need a ride somewhere? I can take you wherever you need to go." A pause. Her jaw shifted slightly, like she was measuring something in his words. "How do I know you're safe?" she asked. Marcus almost smiled, despite himself. Blind, alone, abandoned at a bus stop in the pouring rain at 10:30 at night, and still sharp enough to ask that question. He respected that immediately. "You don't," he said honestly. "But I have a 9-year-old daughter at home, and if I left her out here like this, I'd want someone to stop. My name is Marcus Cole. I'm a software project manager. I drive a Chevy Silverado. If you want, you can text someone my license plate before you get in." Another pause. Longer this time. "I don't have anyone to text," she said. Her name was Lily Ashworth. She was 24 years old, and she told him this in the matter-of-fact tone of someone who had learned to fill silences with information rather than emotion. She'd been born with a degenerative retinal condition. By 16, she had only shadows. By 19, nothing at all. Marcus drove slowly, the heater running, and let her talk. She didn't need prompting. It seemed like the words had been waiting, corked up somewhere, for a long time. She'd been living with her aunt in Millbrook for the past 2 years, after her parents had passed, her father to a stroke, her mother to grief, in that order, 18 months apart. Her aunt Carol had taken her in, or so Lily had believed. "She called me a burden," Lily said, looking straight ahead. "Tonight, just like that over dinner, said she couldn't do it anymore, said I needed to go into a facility." A small, humorless exhale. She packed my bag while I was still sitting at the table, called a cab. The cab dropped me at the bus stop and left. Marcus kept his hands on the wheel and said nothing for a moment. "Where were you planning to go?" he asked. "I don't know," she said. "I thought maybe I'd figure it out when the rain stopped." He took her home. He wasn't sure what else to do. The shelters he'd looked up on his phone while idling in the bus stop had no vacancy on a rainy Friday night. The nearest women's resource center was 40 minutes away and closed until morning, so he took her home, texted the babysitter to stay an extra hour, and set up the guest room while Lily sat at the kitchen table wrapped in a towel, her hands curved around a mug of tea. Emma appeared in the doorway in her pajamas at 11 o'clock, eyes wide. "Dad, who is she?" "This is Lily," Marcus said. "She's going to stay with us tonight. She's safe and she needs some help." Emma looked at Lily for a long moment. Then she walked to the table, sat down across from her and said, "I like your dress. Even wet, it's really pretty." Lily smiled, the first real smile Marcus had seen from her. "Thank you," Lily said. "What's your name?" "Emma," I'm 9. Are you blind? Emma, Marcus started. Okay. Emma. Yes, I am. Does it feel like wearing a blindfold? Or is it different? It's different. A blindfold still has edges. This is just everything. Emma considered this with the gravity only a 9-year-old can bring to a new idea. Can I ask you more questions tomorrow? Sure, Lily said. Emma went to bed satisfied. Marcus leaned against the counter and watched Lily trace the rim of her mug with her fingertip, slowly, like she was reading something in it. She's a good kid, Lily said. She is, he agreed. She keeps me honest. In the morning, Marcus made calls. He wasn't a man who sat on problems. It was how he'd survived the divorce, the single parenthood, the restructuring at work that had eliminated half his department. You identify the problem, you make the calls, you find the path. He called the County Disability Services office. He called a housing coordinator he'd worked with through a charity Emma's school supported. He called a lawyer friend about Lily's rights regarding her aunt's property and the belongings left behind. He made a list and worked through it methodically, standing at his kitchen island with coffee he forgot to drink. Lily sat on the back porch with Emma, who was explaining in extraordinary detail the plot of every book she'd read that year. Around noon, Marcus stepped outside. Lily, the housing coordinator has a lead on a supported living apartment in Danbury. It's income-adjusted, fully accessible, close to the transit line. She can get you on the wait list today, and there may be an opening within 6 weeks. Lily turned toward him. 6 weeks. You can stay here while you wait, he said, and then caught himself. I mean, if that's okay, if you're comfortable with that. I have the room, and Emma clearly doesn't mind. Dad made her a bookshelf last year and it's in the guest room, Emma announced, so it's basically already set up for a reader, except she'd need a pause. Oh, sorry, audiobooks? I love audiobooks, Lily said. Emma pumped her fist. The 6 weeks became 7. 7 became 10, not because the apartment fell through. It didn't. The paperwork moved. The access modifications were confirmed. The date was set. But somewhere in those 10 weeks, the house had quietly rearranged itself around Lily's presence, and no one had said anything about it because it didn't feel like an imposition. It felt like a correction. Like something that had been slightly off balance had finally found its level. Lily began working remotely. She'd had a part-time transcription job she'd nearly lost when she left her aunt's, but Marcus had helped her contact her employer and re-establish her setup using software she already knew. Emma learned to leave things exactly where Lily could find them. Marcus stopped leaving his shoes in the middle of the hallway. Small things. Constant things. One evening in week 9, Marcus was reviewing documents at the kitchen table, and Lily was sitting across from him, working through something on her laptop with a headset on. They hadn't spoken in an hour. It was, Marcus realized, the most peaceful hour he'd had in 3 years. You're staring, Lily said without removing her headset. I wasn't. He stopped. How do you know? You went quiet in a different way, she said. You stop clicking the mouse when you're thinking about something else. He laughed. Actually laughed. Not the polite, tired laugh he'd been producing for the last 2 years, but something genuine. Lily, he said, can I ask you something? She pulled one side of the headset off. Okay. Are you happy here? And I need you to be honest, not kind. You're allowed to want different things than what I've assumed. She was quiet for a moment. The refrigerator hummed. Rain tapped against the window. It had been a rainy fall. I spent 2 years in my aunt's house feeling like a problem to be managed, she said carefully. I've spent 10 weeks here feeling like a person. She paused. So yes, I'm happy, but I also think it's important that I go to the apartment, because I need to know that I can build my own life, that I'm not trading one dependency for another. Marcus nodded slowly. That makes sense. That doesn't mean, she added, her voice quieter, that I want this to end. He looked at her. She was looking just slightly past him, the way she always did, but there was nothing uncertain in her expression. It doesn't have to, he said. Lily moved into the Danbury apartment on a Thursday in December. Emma helped unpack and spent 45 minutes arranging the bookshelf by the category system she'd invented, explaining each category as she went. Lily stood beside her, running her fingers along the spines of each audiobook as Emma placed them, learning the shelf by touch. Marcus assembled the bed frame, fixed a loose cabinet hinge he noticed in the kitchen, and left a small whiteboard by the front door where Lily could write notes in large marker. He'd seen her do it at the house. When they left, Emma hugged Lily for a long time. Lily held on. In the car, Emma was quiet for a while. Then she said, "Dad, are you going to ask her to dinner soon? Or are you going to make me watch you be awkward about it forever?" Marcus kept his eyes on the road. "I'm working on it," he said. "You've been working on it for 10 weeks. I'm a methodical person." Emma sighed in the profound, patient way of someone who has long since given up expecting perfection. He called Lily that same night, asked if she'd like to have dinner with him Saturday. Not at the house, not a casual thing, but dinner, just the two of them. There was a pause on the line. He recognized it now, the pause she used when she was choosing her words carefully, measuring something. "Marcus," she said, "I was wondering when you were going to get there." He smiled at the dark kitchen, the empty table, the house that felt different without her in it. "Saturday," he said. 7 o'clock. I'll pick you up." "I know where the door is," she said. "I'll meet you outside." And she did. Sometimes the detour you almost didn't take turns out to be the road you were always supposed to be on. The end.